This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1125, Why You're Afraid to Commit to Your Goals by Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. And I'm Justin Malik, the guy that's narrated over 1,100 articles for you to help you live a more meaningful life. Thank you for being here. It really means a lot. And I'm going to keep this intro nice and short for you today, so let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. Why You're Afraid to Commit to Your Goals by Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. Quote, if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. Henry David Thoreau. You may have noticed it too, our collective aversion to committing to anything long-term. Partly it's a result of a society that is changing at a faster pace than at any time in history. And this trend seems to be accelerating with every passing day. If you ask the average person why they don't commit, they may say that they're just too busy. A more candid person may say that they're keeping their options open. What's really driving our aversion to long-term commitment? Fear, pure and simple. But our fear of committing is costing us big time. Why? Because it threatens our ability to set and achieve long-term goals. If you struggle with this, there's a chance that you've stopped setting and pursuing big goals for yourself. There's a chance that you're a serial quitter, jumping from one project to the next and bailing on the first sign of challenge or difficulty. If you want to break this cycle, then it's time to face your fears head on. Here are some of the most common fears that keep us from committing to our goals. Number 1, we're afraid of missing out. Affectionately known as FOMO, fear of missing out, is one of the great drivers of our aversion to commitment. We're afraid that if we commit to one thing, we'll miss out on better opportunities. So by keeping our options wide open, we subscribe to the illusion that we're playing it smart or hedging our bets. But by not intentionally choosing a path, what we're really doing is spinning our wheels, and we end up going nowhere. How to overcome it. Understand that there is no escaping opportunity cost, whether you make a decision or not. If you're holding out because of this fear, it may be time to take a leap and make a definite choice. Start training for that marathon you've always wanted to run. Interview for that job you've always wanted. Propose to that person you already know you want to spend the rest of your life with. Number 2, we're afraid of accountability. In order to make good any commitment, we need accountability. But we're afraid of accountability because it feels like we're sacrificing our freedom. And let's face it, we don't like answering to others. So we fool ourselves with the idea that we can be accountable to ourselves. But this rarely works by itself. We need trusted friends and partners who will speak truth to us when we stray from the path we set for ourselves. How to overcome it? The composer Igor Stravinsky once said, the more constraints one imposes, the more one frees oneself. Understand that accountability is not a straitjacket, but is actually the fuel that will rocket us to achieving the things we really want. Because when you take responsibility for your actions, you're taking ownership over your life. Number 3, we're afraid to fail. I used to think I was justified in not setting big goals for myself because it felt arrogant. The real reason why I stayed away from big goals? I was afraid of failing and looking foolish to myself and others for even trying. I'd bet that I'm hardly alone in this. How to overcome it? Failure is a necessary part of the journey. Without failure, there can be no success. Moreover, the biggest value in setting goals is not the achievement of the goal itself, it's the personal growth we experience while pursuing big goals. Focus on the gains you've made rather than on the gap that's left when you fall short, and you'll be inspired to make a new commitment to get you all the way next time. Number 4, we're afraid of boredom. We're hardwired to seek out novel experiences, and we get bored much more easily than we used to. Doubt this? Take away someone's smartphone for a day and watch what happens. They'll likely go crazy with boredom. When we commit to doing something long-term, it likely means that you'll need to repeat the steps over and over again in order to achieve mastery. But before we can get to mastery, there's a messy middle consisting largely of challenges and boredom. If you're not prepared for this stage, you'll likely bail from the commitment at the first sign of difficulty. How to overcome it? No matter how exciting a new venture feels at the time, there will come a point when the novelty will wear off. Anticipate this and prepare for it. In order to survive the messy middle, you'll need to have a compelling enough why for committing to your long-term goal. This why needs to remain front and center so you can be reminded of what's at stake if you choose to quit or what's possible if you choose to press on. flex your commitment muscle. If you find yourself hesitating to commit to something, there's a million rational reasons for not taking the leap. But if you want to cut through the noise, understand that most of these reasons boil down to one thing: fear. By learning to flex your commitment muscle, you'll learn to face your fears head on. You won't back down from setting high goals for yourself, and you'll be well on your way to achieve them. You just listened to the post titled "Why You're Afraid to Commit to Your Goals" by Cylon George of spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. I might as well mention it in this episode. It's a perfect fit. My goal for this year is to increase the number of listeners of this show. I'm getting a lot more specific than that, but we'll spare you the details. And you've played a huge role for that in the past. So if you have a friend, a family member, coworker, even a group on Facebook, or someone on Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram, wherever, if you'd share this show with them, that would have a big impact in helping me achieve my goal for this year. You can share the site, oldpodcast.com, or if you're there in person with them, simply showing them how to subscribe on their phone would be amazing. Thank you for doing that in the past, right now, and in the future, and for being here every day. It really means a lot. And I'll be back tomorrow with a post from Mark and Angel, where your optimal life awaits.